Now we know it's being recorded. Okay, so let's go back to our shared screen in which we were discussing noun phrases, okay? So noun phrases, okay, so what is a noun phrase? Well, you have to first think about what is a compound noun, right? So it's two nouns, two words, specifically nouns, that form a separate meaning together conceptually, or like an idea of something. Like if you say playground, right? The word play and the word ground are separate nouns, but when you put them together, they create an idea in your head of a certain place, a playground. So we know compound nouns. But the idea is, how do you use the language to expand it, to give more information, and not only add to the language itself, well, not only add to the business terminology that we're using, right? Because this is all about business English, and that the way that we expand the terminology and the jargon. Remember the jargon that we've talked about? So jargon is basically every career, every field, every job that you study has a certain vocabulary, a vernacular, a jargon, a language within itself. Think of the way that lawyers talk to each other, right? When lawyers talk to each other, you never really understand what they're saying, right? Is like they start talking legal terms and you're like, oof, I'm lost, right? Same thing like doctors. Doctors, when they are talking to each other, it's like they're talking Martian, if there is such a thing as a Martian language, right? You don't understand what they're saying. They're talking in medical terms. So that's what we call jargon. So in business is the same way. When business people talk to each other, they have a certain way that they use the language that they know what it means, right? So they use certain nouns and adjectives and adverbs to convey an idea, a concept of something, of whatever it is that they might be talking about within a business environment, right? So business people talk this way all the time, 24 hours, 7 days a week. It doesn't matter if you're in New York or if you're in China or in Tokyo, there's a certain terminology that's understood between business people. So the idea is that this terminology, you can create not only compound nouns, two nouns, but you can create phrases, and we call these noun phrases, okay? Noun phrases. Noun phrases have an order. They have a pattern to them, for example. So they'll have like an adjective, an adverb, another noun, and then a head noun, right? So a head noun is think of the head noun like the main subject of the phrase. What is it that you're really talking about? A good example that I think I've talked about in the past is that, for example, let's say you go to the supermarket and you're looking for rice. Well, you look up at the aisle and you look down the aisle, it says rice, right? But let's say you're looking for brown rice. Well, rice is your head noun, okay? Like rice is your head noun, that's your main subject, but you're looking for brown rice, right? So then you go to the aisle. Now I have a phrase here, a compound on brown rice. Or maybe I want Spanish brown rice. So now I'm adding to the phrase. You see, I'm adding more Spanish brown rice. Not only do I want Spanish brown rice, but I want yellow Spanish brown rice, or not yellow, but more like a specific Spanish brown rice. See how you're adding to it. So these are phrases. When we do this every day, it's common everyday talk. But when we're talking about it in business, it becomes more, what's the word? It becomes more specific. If you change a word around, it changes the meaning, right? So if we take a look here on page 18, right, we have what's called the language review. And it's explaining to us what are noun compounds and noun phrases. All this relating to the vocabulary in English. Okay, so I'll read the first, I'll model. It says here, bullet point number 1, a compound noun is two nouns together. We got that. Noun compounds are common in business because they are shorter and more convenient than noun phrases. For example, if I say a market survey rather than a survey into the market, right? So now I shorten the idea. Survey into the market. Well, are you saying market survey? Yes. So I shortened it by using two nouns. Another one is a product design brief rather than a brief for the design of a product. See that all that verbiage, all those words I had to say, I shortened them and I created an idea by using 3 words only, 3 nouns, right? Product, design, brief. So we do this in our everyday, in business, everyday talk. The next the next bullet point says longer noun phrases are also common, right? This is what I was talking, this is why I was talking about this earlier. They may consist of adverbs, right? Adjectives, then we have a noun and a head noun. Think again of a head noun as the main subject of this phrase. Like rice, brown rice, Spanish brown rice, right? But rice is our head noun in that case. So for example, when you use all these types of parts of speech, this pattern, this order cannot be changed. You can change the adjective, but you cannot change the order, all right? So the order that we have as an example here is a very specific order that cannot be changed. So number 1, the first word in that noun phrase should always be an adverb, right? The second word in that noun phrase should be an adjective. And then after that, number 3 in that noun phrase is a noun. And then finally, the head noun. So what do we have here as an example? If we look here on page 18, let me make sure you can all see it here. I will enlarge so we can see this much better. So number 1, adverb. What they have there is the word highly, right? Highly is a measurement of low or high, right? Tall, small, or little, right? So it's giving us a measurement of how something is important. How important is it? It's highly important. It's very important. Even the word very is another adverb. So when you say highly, you're making sure that right at the beginning of this phrase, you're letting the listener know or the reader that this is a very important thing that I'm going to talk to you about. So highly. The next one is confidential. Highly confidential. Very private. Very secret, right? Very discreet information. How do I know that's an adjective? It ends in AL. Okay. Confidential. AL is a very good a common way that if a word has an AL at the end, we know that it's an adjective. So now we have highly confidential. Now we come up with our label here, right? Not our main label, like the way I said Spanish rice, right? Or Spanish rice. Here is another noun, sales. What kind of sales? Report. It's a sales report. So sales report is our noun, compound noun, and then we're adding that more information. So what does it turn into? It turns into highly confidential sales report. Every word is trying to describe the next part of speech, right? Highly. What do you mean by highly? Confidential. Oh, highly confidential. What's highly confidential? Sales. Oh, highly confidential sales. Well, what about it? It's a report. Oh, I understand now. Highly confidential sales report. What kind of report? Sales. Is it confidential? Yes, because that's the adjective that's describing sales. How confidential? Highly confidential. So as long as you follow that order, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to be fine. You have to know your parts of speech, right? That's all you have to know. Highly ends in ly. Big key participle there, right? It ends in ly, adjective, all right? Confidential. So let's see if we can try this as far as an example. Let me know if you have any questions. Anybody have any questions about this? And this is, yes.
Bernardo, what about when you have like several or different adjectives? How do I know how to like organize them?
Well, you mean, what do you mean by several adjectives? Like big, small?
Like you mentioned, yeah, Spanish and brown, both are adjectives, but sometimes you have a lot of different adjectives to describe a noun. So is there like an order for them?
Well, if you follow the grammatical order of the language, right, a noun always has to go an adjective always has to go before the noun. So you could have, yeah, you could definitely have more than one adjective to describe the noun. Like if I say, and a good way to know this also, remember that the idea is that we're shortening the phrase. If we're sticking to the grammar and I say it's a hot and sticky day, right? Hot and sticky are nouns, meaning it's hot outside the weather and you feel sticky. Two nouns, but I use the conjunction according to the grammar. I'm not doing a noun phrase. I'm only creating a sentence, right? Or part of a sentence. So hot and sticky day. Outside, it is hot and sticky. You see what I mean? So you can add, it's like it's sort of like making a list of things. It's hot, sticky, and muggy today. Now I gave you three adjectives, hot, sticky, and muggy. So hot, comma, sticky, comma, and muggy. Three adjectives. So you can have three, four, however, there is no really end to it. But you don't want to give too many adjectives because then it'll be confusing. As long as it describes the day, what type of day it is, then you're going to be fine. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Okay. But the noun phrase pattern that we're talking about, this order, has to be in that adjective, sorry, adverb, adjective, noun, head noun, main noun of the phrase. Okay. So it's very specific. You can change, you can't change the order. You could change the word, but you cannot change the order. This is what makes it so specific, especially when you're talking about business, right? So let's try the first one. Letter C. It says, write the words in each of these noun phrases in correct order. Okay. And in correct order. So number one, advertising, impressive, campaign, really. How would you correct that order? What would go first? I'm looking here.
Really
Really?
Okay. That's an adverb. One,
impressive,
nice. That's the adjective, right? Correct.
advertising, and campaign.
So impressive. This would be three. And then campaign. Yes, you see how you can get confused because you're saying, wait a second, is advertising a noun? So here's a good one. Here's exactly what you said, right, Valentina, what you were asking. This participle ing is still describing the type of campaign that it is. So these two are adjectives. So can you have two adjectives? You're right. There's a good example. So impressive is an adjective. Advertising is also an adjective there. What kind of um, you're describing what type of campaign? Sorry, right? It could be a political campaign. It could be a business campaign. It could be a religious campaign. It could be, but in this case, it's an advertising campaign. So impressive, right? So, and it can be an impressive campaign. So in this case, we have the main noun, the head noun, which is campaign, but we're starting it off in the same pattern still. It's starting with an adverb. We're getting in this noun phrase, there is no regular noun, right? We're just dealing with we're trying to describe the word campaign, the head noun, the main noun. So yes, so it would be number one in that order. Really impressive advertising campaign. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. It's really that. And so if, let's say, if we were taking the test, it would be just like that. You just have to follow that order. Let's try one more, okay? Number 2, customer department new relations. Take your time.
The first one, new.
New, nice, okay. That's number 1.
Department.
New department.
Oh no, it's not. Benar-benar.
It makes you think, right?
Maybe customer relations department.
Oh yeah.
Customers relations department. So it would be new customer relations department, right? So this would be two, new, oops, sorry, let me erase that. Go back. So new is our, actually, these are all adjectives. New, ooh, I erased that again. Hold on a second. This is where I still miss the blackboard, right? New customer relations department. So our head noun here, our main noun is department. And they're all describing, they're all adjectives. Well, actually, no, again. So we have new is an adjective. Customer, new customer relations department. Yeah, that's the only way that it makes sense. So the noun phrase is still the word, what type of department? It's a relations department. What type of department? Customer department. You see, so these two adjectives are working the same way. New customer relations department. Yes, right. So new, and again, which type of department? It's a customer department. And also it's a relations department. So the way you would make sense of it is if you think of customer relations, like customer service, they go together. That's in the compound noun. Customer relations and customer service. So I know that those two words work together in describing the type of department. But not only that, I'm giving you another adjective, exactly like you said before. There's no adverbs here, right? It's just all adjectives. New is an adjective. And customer relations is the type of department, right? Describing the department. And then department as a head noun. Okay. Okay, one more and then that's it. We'll do the last one here. How about number 3? Competitive, mobile or mobile, highly market phone.
Is highly
Highly,
competitive.
yeah, highly is a good one. We know that that's an adverb, so that's going to be the first one. Number 1, highly.
Competitive.
Competitive, yes, so that's an adjective.
Mobile phone market.
Mobile phone market, mobile. Here we have 5 now, or five words. Highly competitive mobile phone market, correct. Yep, that was great. Thank you, right? So it's a highly competitive mobile phone market, right? So the main noun is the head noun because I can tell you what kind of market. Oh, it's a phone market. Not only that, it's a mobile phone market. And what about them? Well, it's competitive and it's a highly competitive. You see how they all work together to create the same idea, the same instead. You could write a paragraph like this, just with those 5 words to describe what you want to say. But in business, we like to shorten things up together, summarize it, use 3, 4, 5 words to have a whole paragraph idea, almost like a main idea, right? Like the central idea of a paragraph or of a book or of an article. So you make 5 words out of them. It's bam, 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 bam. And everybody, okay, I understand, got it. By using just a few words, a phrase to give meaning to what it is you're trying to say. So that was really good, definitely. Highly competitive mobile phone market. And we all understand. So when I said all those words together, they all make sense together. That's the pattern, right? That's the correct pattern, the correct order that you need to do. You have to understand it in, right? And any product, any business will, whatever whatever their product is will have this main noun because that's what they're talking about, right? So if you work in marketing, it has to end in the word market. If you work for a mobile company, it has to, or a mobile phone. If you're in a mobile phone market, right, it's a very specific business entity or um, part of the business environment and industry, right? The mobile phone market, they all work together. So what kind of mobile phone market? I have to keep repeating it. It's competitive. What about it also? It's highly. So you see, I can repeat these words over and over. These nouns, these words work so well together. I can change it. I can say a new, a new, a new, um, a beginning competitive mobile phone market, right? I can say it like that, sure. So I'm just changing the adjective to describe this phone market. That's what you want to remember. There has to be a noun or a head noun that work together. Phone market. That was so good. That was so good. And we're going to continue reviewing this. So thank you for that. Thank you so much. I think I'm going to see if I stop that. And